Hello and welcome to Grand Slam Nitro, where the action this week continues with several more tournaments starting up. Plus, we've got a main event over 20 years in the making. Let's take a look at tonight's lineup.
Coming up in tonight's fight card, the Retro Rebels gets underway as Wild Things, the Chromalot, Wheelie Big Cheese and Pussycat all battle it out. Then Big Things come in small packages as the Micro Madness gets started, Ultra Laser Shark 3D, Pulse, Foxy and So. The World Championship qualifiers begin with Endgame versus Minotaur, New Zealand versus Brazil there, and then a second battle, Drift versus Servo, that's China versus Italy. And in tonight's main event, a history lesson, the challenge belt, currently held by Tornado. Behemoth want it back. Looking forward to that battle.
So we're starting with a load of robots that believe the good old days was where it was at. Sure, let's turn back the clock and test your mettle. It's the Retro Rebels.
Let's see which four think they've still got it.
From Hampshire, Wild Thing.
Wild Thing returns with its vulnerable tyres but speed and control. That spinner on the front is deadly. Watch out, there's a Wild Thing about.
From South Ockenden, Sir Chromalot.
Ever the class act, Sir Chromalot returns to the wars with a low ground clearance this time round, but no Shremek worth speaking of, and that weapon looks very flimsy to me.
From Langport, Wheelie Big Cheese.
The big, full-bodied flipper is very durable indeed, has very powerful weaponry but very exposed wheels. I'll need to protect them.
From Bromsgrove, Pussycat.
This kitty has 9 lives, but will it do by the end of the fight? They always land on their wheels, but due to its high ground clearance, the weakness is flippers.
Roboteers, stand by.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Here we go then, first fight of the evening, and Wild Thing getting spun up very quickly. In comes the Chromalot with a flip on Pussycat, very well done to them. They have managed to participate. A big flip though from Wheelie Big Cheese. That's how it's meant to be done, lads. Not that tiny little wheelie thing that you're calling a flipper. And Wild Thing is seeing to that flipper as well. No, driving away, seeing the fight is over there, not bothering to engage with Sir Chromalot. Wheelie Big Cheese in underneath and a big flip there from them on Wild Thing. Wild Thing having to get back up to speed after landing well, I must say, and a good hit to the wheels of Wheelie Big Cheese. I said they'll need to defend them. Flipped on the floor flipper is Wheelie Big Cheese. Can self-right and does. Back into the action are they. Spinning up once again, Wild Thing, another big hit. That big spinner on Wild Thing, really quite powerful. A little flip there from Wheelie Big Cheese. Onto Pussycat, another good one, and Pussycat goes flying. Wheelie Big Cheese having to self-right after flipping. It does tend to flip itself over, but the fight continues nonetheless. There goes the flipper from Sir Chromalot. Well, I thought it probably would come off. That was a big hit though, and another Wild Thing going absolutely wild, doing its namesake and clobbering Sir Chromalot in the corner there. They are upside down, no Shremek and no way of getting back up from there. But turned over are Wild Thing by Wheelie Big Cheese. So Chromalot now out of it. Pussycat looking around, trying to find the action, trying to cut up that same wheel that Wild Thing went for earlier on, seeing that as a weakness potentially. Another flip from Wheelie Big Cheese gets Pussycat away once again. Back in the corner are they. Up to speed again is Wild Thing. A good back and forth fight this for the 3 robots that remain in. Up against the Lexan wall there is Wheelie Big Cheese, and back down, very sporting of Wild Thing. Always the sportsmen in the fight are the Wild Thing team. Really good stuff to see from them. Back around now comes Pussycat back into the action, and they've sort of been out of it, back and forth, sort of in and out, but now flipped once again by Wheelie Big Cheese. That seems to be the pattern. They come out of the fight, they spend some time to recover, and then get flipped all over again by Wheelie Big Cheese, and now having to take time to recover once again. I think another good hit from Wild Thing on the front of Wheelie Big Cheese, cutting up that cheese, grating it perhaps, who knows? Fromage for me? No thanks, I'll be sick. Moving on. Pussycat is being bullied by both Wild Thing and Wheelie Big Cheese, who is underneath it once again, and a big flip landing directly back down on that flipper of Wheelie Big Cheese. Another attempted flip, but to no avail. I wonder if that flipper is okay. Wild Thing coming in now for a look on Wheelie Big Cheese. Pussycat coming in for a great hit on that spinner. I thought I saw some sparks coming off a bit there. Is there some damage to the spinner? Yes, there is. It's come off. Good grief. But there's Cease. Is it all too late for Pussycat? We'll have to wait and see. It goes to the judges. Well, that was an interesting fight for sure. Lots of action in there. The old guard still got it, I think. Good hits from Wild Thing, good flips from Wheelie Big Cheese. So Chromalot out of it very quickly. It was Wild Thing who really got the kill on them though, a knockout to their name. So we're seeing 2 robots go through from this round into the semi-finals of the Retro Rebels. I wonder who's going out here, because only one of them will go out. Pussycat wasn't really in the action all that much. Will that sway it for the judges? Anytime they were in the action, they're being flipped all around by Wheelie Big Cheese. I think this is clear cut. They're on the chopping block for me, though they did cause that damage late on.
Results from the judges are in, of course, looking at damage control and aggression. They say that Pussycat is out. It's Wheelie Big Cheese and Wild Thing who will be going through to the next round of the Retro Rebels. Congratulations to those teams. Commiserations to Pussycat and to Sir Chromalot. Now, time for another competition, I think. And it's the start of our pint-sized powerhouses in the Micro Madness.
They say big things come in small packages. Let's meet our middleweights to see if that proves to be true.
From Wisconsin, USA, so-and-so.
A scaled down version of Son of Waiachi, but body spinner, no big chassis underneath this spinner. It's sturdy and destructive, but it can get pinned and can't self-right.
From Burntwood, Foxy.
A smaller version of Robot Wars competitor Foxic, who we've seen previously in the Grand Slam. It's an experienced team, but with poor luck in previous competitions, it might hold them back.
From Ride on the Isle of Wight, Ultra Laser Shark 3D.
A very complicated name for a very uncomplicated robot. A 2-wheel drive pusher with low ground clearance, but no Shreemech worth speaking about. That could prove problematic.
From Bedhampton, Pulse.
Last competed in the Fightmas episodes way back when. Pulse returns with unique weaponry, that rubber drum, but again, it can't self-right.
Roboteers, stand by.
3, 2, 1, activate.
So 1 flipper in the arena and 3 robots that can't self-right. I can see this being rather one-way traffic. It's so-and-so who's up to speed but being bullied by Pulse, and Foxy coming in for a look, as is Ultra Laser Shark 3D, pushing Pulse down to the bottom end of the arena. Foxy having a look at so-and-so, who was turned upside down already. I hadn't even noticed. They were done in there, but now doing in Ultra Laser Shark, who's lost an eye. Oh dear. How are they going to see? Spinning across the arena, and again another big hit from so-and-so, who's now right side up thanks to Foxy self-righting them, or just righting them, it wasn't by themselves. Bouncing off of the front wedge of Ultra Laser Shark is so-and-so. It's a very strong front wedge on that machine, and it's probably the only good thing about it, other than its looks. It does look fantastic. A good hit there from Pulse, but caught on their back are Pulse. Foxy getting him back down, very sportsman-like. They could just leave them up and let them have it. There goes another part of Ultra Laser Shark, and so-and-so battering into Ultra Laser Shark as well. Another big hit and a piece goes flying. I think that might have been the eye that came off earlier though. And another big hit to that side fin. It's stuck out and it's open to attacks, but they don't really care. It's a really good looking robot. It's a lot of fun and I'm a big fan. Ultra Laser Shark pushing Foxy back into the corner. That very low ground clearance is going to help them out, but 3 of these machines do have low ground clearance. It is a real battle. Pulse pushing so-and-so into the sidewall, now recovering, and a big hit there. So-and-so getting the hits in on Pulse, but shot across the arena there, just bouncing off that wedge. Now hitting the back corner. That's going to be affecting some sort of drive, I'm sure. Ultra Laser Shark now coming in for an attack on So-and-so, who is just bullied into the corner. There's not a lot they can do at the front wedge of Ultra Laser Shark. Foxy putting Ultra Laser Shark on the floor flipper, flipped there, turned upside down. Foxy taking another look, turning them right side up again. Why are they going back after them after they've turned them upside down? Perhaps they want the fight to keep going, but it's dangerous tactics, as is going on the floor flipper. So-and-so, they're upside down, and nobody seems to be going to right them, although Foxy seems to be the one who's been doing it so far, and they can't really do much. They're very close to going out of the arena. The head you can see there hanging over the sidewall. There goes something else out of the arena from Ultra Laser Shark 3D, now turned over by Pulse and hit out of the arena. A big hit there from Pulse and an excellent Uta. A very good hit indeed. Foxy, however, righted and back into the fight. So-and-so seems to be out of it, upside down, can't self-right. Now Pulse turned upside down, rolling along on that rubber drum. Acts like a tyre when it's upside down, so it means it can somewhat move, but pushed and bullied up against the side wall and out of the arena as well. Foxy has cleaned up shop. Having righted everybody throughout this fight, they've managed to see off 2 out of the 3, and the third, well, it sort of killed itself on the floor flipper, didn't it? Foxy, the winner, and that is it.
No longer shall people ask what the fox says. I think Foxy has just shown exactly what it's talking about. Well done to that team. They're through to the Micro Madness final at the end of the series. But now, I think it's time for a different competition. Let's take this thing global, shall we? It's the start of our World Championship qualifiers.
So here we are, our World Championship qualifiers start right here, with 2 legends going at it. Let's meet the 2 teams.
Representing New Zealand, Endgame.
The current BattleBots champions, Endgame, 2020 winners. Powerful weaponry, but their ability to self-right is still questionable.
Representing Brazil, Minotaur.
This 2-wheel drive drum spinner has a lot of power and a lot of aggression thanks to its amazing driver. However, the ground clearance has always proved to be a problem.
Roboteers, stand by.
3, 2, 1, activate.
So these 2 BattleBots prodigies coming out of the gate quickly and spinning up to full speed. The vertical spinner of Endgame, the drum spinner of Minotaur is Endgame, who has the lower ground clearance and the push on Minotaur into that bottom corner. But coming back with a good push is Minotaur against seemingly the arena button. Nothing seems to have happened though, so perhaps didn't quite press it hard enough, or I don't know what's happened there. But moving on, Endgame still getting underneath Minotaur, putting him on the floor flipper, turned over, flipped over by said floor flipper and pushing him up against the rear side wall. Now driving back onto the floor flipper and very nearly bounces out of the arena does Minotaur, but landing up the right way, I must say. Coming back in for an attack on Endgame. Endgame had the opportunity there to win the match in the opening few seconds, but to no avail. Unfortunately, Minotaur managed to get away from there. Perhaps some gyroscopic forces, perhaps some just well-timed bouncing, who knows. Endgame coming in for a look, or at least exposing their backside to Minotaur, who pushes them up against that rear side wall. Now a piece seems to have come off of Endgame here. That seems to be one of the little wedge or one of the fin type pieces from the top of the machine. They are decorative but still damage nonetheless, flipped over by the floor flipper and back over our Endgame. Now Minotaur coming in for another hit on the side of Endgame, this time finding the wheel guards, and will that do any damage, I wonder? Endgame not quite moving as quickly as they were before, or are they? I'm not quite sure. This is a very sort of tentative match with 2 very big spinners. They have fought each other before in BattleBots. You saw their Minotaur pinned up against the side on their backs. There is no way down for them, except Endgame let them back down. Another good hit to the side of Minotaur from Endgame. And now pushing in is Minotaur to the arena drum that doesn't seem to be spinning. Whether it's broken, I'm not sure. We saw that button be pressed earlier on, but nothing seems to have come of it. There are no house robots in this series, so that means no house robots going rogue either. Oh, I wonder what happened there. Never mind. Minotaur, Endgame still battling it out, still hitting each other. Endgame managing to do quite well, only showing Minotaur those front wedgelets. and nothing else. It means that Minotaur is really struggling until now, is hitting that side armour, and is endgame moving quite as well as it should be. I'm not sure it's even spinning at this point. Endgame flipped over, having to self-right and do, and has this match all of a sudden turned on its head. Minotaur with a good shove. Endgame don't seem to be moving. A big hit. That was a huge hit on the back of Endgame. You can see the entire back panel just peeled off, the electronics exposed, and that could be curtains for Endgame. They were slowing down to a sluggish pace and now don't seem to be moving at all. I think this is it. I think Minotaur has the win here. Endgame still no movement. Minotaur, they seem to be gyro dancing. They think they've won it, and I think they have too. It's a win for Brazil and Minotaur. New Zealand and Endgame go out.
Can anything stop the rampaging bull that is Minotaur? You'll have to wait and see later on in the series to find out. But now 2 more teams are going to put their international pride on the line. It's another round of the World Championships.
2 more teams line up to put their international money where their international mouths are. Let's meet who's up next.
Representing Italy, Servo.
The Italian stag with its antlers that can rotate 360 degrees to self-right the machine. However, it has a very weak flipper mounting.
Representing China, Drift.
A very defensive robot came top of King of Bots 2, one of the last 2 robots standing. Very well armoured, but its weapon ability is questionable.
Roboteers, stand by.
3, 2, 1, activate.
So it's Italy versus China, and the start of this fight, and it's Servo who mistimes a flip, missing Drift, but not that time. Drift managing to land well though. Servo missing another flip. They're going to need to time them better. They're going to run out of CO2. Otherwise, that self-righting mechanism managing to get them back down onto their wheels and coming in underneath Drift once again. Another good flip from Servo. And that flipper mechanism seems to be holding up just fine at the opening stage of this fight, though they have just mistimed yet another flip. Another good one though. They are going to need to time these flips, I've already said it. They just need to get on top of them better, and they've missed another one there. They're wasting good CO2 and good flips there. Drift underneath, taking advantage, pushing them against the sidewall, but don't flip them up against the sidewall. I think it's a difficult position to flip them in. However, flipped is Drift now, self-righting in the top corner and having to again, no landing well. Very close to the arena sidewall, but managing to push Servo away, pushing him into the bottom wall. So very good control from Drift here. Servo lacking in the control, as we've already seen. A very good flip there, flipped on the floor flipper as well as Drift across the arena, over back by that side wall outer zone. Now back to the middle of the arena. Servo with another good flip, and there goes the flipper. Oh dear. Well, there is the weak flipper mounting we were told about earlier on, and it's Drift who seems to be on the upper hand now, though they're going to have to do a lot to Servo. Servo started this match very well. Despite those mistimed flips, they were aggressive and they were seemingly okay controlled, but now without that weapon, I don't really know what Servo can do. Survive is really the main thing. Drift managing to flip them once again, but those antlers very good at self-righting Servo, turning back onto their wheels, pushing into the side of Drift now. Good control from Servo. Drift now round the back and pushing into that outer zone on the precipice, on the edge, but those horns have self-righted them. That's excellent from the very unique self-righting mechanism on Servo, being pushed out of the arena while they can't self-right from there. Drift with a last fatal push, and Servo went out. Cease called. Drift go through.
And it's China that go drifting into the round of 8 of our international special at the end of the series. Well done to them. But now it's time for a history lesson. Are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then I'll begin.
The year is 2001, and Robot Wars Extreme is hosting its Challenge Belt competition. A third win means that Behemoth gets to keep the Challenge Belt, but they came up against opponent Tornado. The battle begins. And Tornado, very quick out of the gates, manages to get Behemoth beached on its side. However, coming back strong later on, Behemoth manages to flip Tornado not once but twice, and then pin them up against the arena sidewall. Matilda then intervenes, and it's at this point that Behemoth loses its weapon. A pushing match ensues until the judge's decision gets called in. The match goes in favour of Tornado, and Behemoth lose the challenge belt. Tornado have held it ever since. But tonight, for the first time in nearly 20 years, the challenge belt goes back up for grabs, and it's Behemoth who want it back. Over 20 years ago, Tornado beat Behemoth, earning the challenge belt in the process. But will they keep it today? Let's find out.
From Hemel Hempstead, Behemoth.
The challenger approaches Behemoth. This six-wheel drive flipper has years of experience, but their weakness has always been they're unlucky.
From Turvey, Tornado.
The current holders of the challenge belt, Tornado, are back. It's back to basics, all-out attack for them. However, their ground clearance could be their biggest weakness of all in this battle.
Roboteers, stand by.
3, 2, 1, activate.
And so it begins. Behemoth will be gunning hard. They really want this challenge belt back. Tornado will also want to keep hold of it, and it's Tornado who's managing to run circles round Behemoth, or a Behemoth holding position to get a better attack. Yes, they are. A good flip on Tornado, who's upturned. That doesn't seem to have spoilt Tornado's time, though, as they're pushing Behemoth all around, grinding up the side panels of that machine. Flipped once again, and Tornado now up the right way. A good push up to the top of the arena, and now into the sidewall. Tornado pushing all around. Behemoth, though, managing to prop Tornado up. Now, can they get down from there? I'm not so sure. Behemoth close to the sidewall with Tornado, but they get away. They get away. Oh, this is very tense. Very close indeed. A good push, and the arena button has been pressed. The drum is spinning. At last, tonight it spins. Flipped. And now Tornado upside down. What can they do from here? Nothing at all. They've hit the drum. They're out. It's over. Behemoth are the challenge belt holders. Massive congratulations to the team. Tornado, they could do nothing at all. That was over in a flash. Well done to the Behemoth team, who you can see celebrating profusely in the middle of the arena, and rightly so. A well-earned victory. They will have to defend the belt till the end of the series.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's action. An old score is settled. There's plenty more to come later in the series. Stay tuned for Grand Slam Nitro. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like and do subscribe to the channel. And we shall see you next time for more action. Bye bye.